Hi folks, I'm Devok and welcome to the Artificers Guild, the home of all things Artifact. Back at the opening ceremony of Dota 2's The International 8, Gabe Newell announced that Artifact would be getting a beta, and that there would be a menagerie of ways which one might get a key. And should you be lucky enough to get one of those keys, then you would be able to play the game in October. Now for those of you still trying to use the Mayan calendar, you might not have noticed, but it has actually been October for a good 2 weeks now. So, with half of the month gone, where is our beta? There's been a crazy amount of speculation, a few leaks, and a whole lot of impatience in the community. So let's sum up what we know, and what we can expect as a beta date, or what to look out for so we might know when it's going to drop. Before we jump into the meat of this issue, I'm guessing there are still a fair few of you out there without beta keys. Well, if you aren't yet, make sure you head over to the Artifact subreddit, where you'll find 90% of the competitions to get a key. Now if you don't fancy jumping through flaming hoops to help boost the ego of the person giving away the said key, then you can follow us on Twitter at Artificer_Guild, where I tweet out every decent beta key giveaway I can find. Links for both will be in the description below. Now, into the real issue. When is our beta? The belief that Valve don't have a marketing team and are just doing all of this ad hoc is to me the simple ramblings of a person who feels they've been wronged. They likely don't have a key, or even more likely, they're just a Hearthstone fan wanting to cause any disruption in Artifact that's possible. The haters aside, let's take a look at the opinion of digital marketers out there. Valve must have a pretty decent marketing team, and a strategy alongside that. So what do the experts think? This digital marketer seems to make a lot of sense. While it will still be a closed beta, this is effectively the first uncontrolled and widespread press release. It is extremely likely that there will be no NDA attached, so everyone will be able to make content about the game itself, and importantly, their opinion on how good it is. Valve absolutely need to make sure they get this right, as we gamers are a fickle folk, and one person that we look up to saying GAM is bad will likely be enough for us to take our money elsewhere. So give them time, let them produce something that they're proud of, like Valve always do. Let them deliver to us a great game that's going to make more people want to join this fantastic community. That being said, I think a delay to their original strategy is quite likely. Valve had started pumping out daily card reveals, and the community had beta keys to give away following packs. But since then, the largest spanner, or wrench for you Americans, has been jammed into the works. The leak from China. Valve had a plan. I'm positive of that. But the leak would have at least forced them to rethink their strategy as the community learned of so many things that were going to be a part of that plan. Whether their new plan is slower, or the whole ordeal of replanning itself took time, this would go to explain why we haven't had a beta in early October, and why we have to wait till the later part of the month. For those of you that originally thought that the leak was a great thing, learning about Artifact, you might well be wrong there, because the reality is it's probably delayed the beta. Also worth remembering, we aren't the only ones struggling right now, waiting on Valve for news. Dota's 7.20 patch, deemed to be the next huge change to the game state, has been rumoured for a while now. Is this one of the reasons we're seeing less Artifact news of late, including no beta news? Just the other day we had an entire day without any card reveal or anything of the such, which is the first time in about a month or so now. Prominent Valve community member, and General Enigma Wick, has been pressed for information on both fronts, but we've gotten neither so far. So whether just no one knows, or whether they're all having to keep pretty tight lips, we're not going to know for a while yet. But let's see if we can figure out, at least on the Artifact side of things, when we might be getting the beta. In order to figure this out, some desperate followers of the Artifact community reached out to marketing and software development experts for an explanation. One wise Redditor did point out one thing though, that no one was thinking of. Why are we even getting a closed beta? Valve will want to be doing this for more testing purposes, rather than marketing purposes. A software dev on Reddit pointed out that Valve are going to be looking for a number of different things from the closed beta, not just getting the information out there. They're going to be looking for load issues, they're going to be looking for various hardware issues that only crop up with different scenarios that only a larger base of people can provide, but they still don't want to have released it out to everyone. So Valve are likely getting those things, those final things, in place, ready for testing. Even if they're already in the closed beta, they're not in a state to support all of us guys out there with beta keys. So as soon as they let you guys in there, they're going to want to be getting all of this information as soon as possible, so they have time to act upon it before the full release of the game. This is likely another reason that the beta may well have been delayed. So if we are just waiting for Valve to be ready to give us the beta, so that they can get all the testing they need from all you lovely beta testers, what's the delay for? Well, as I hinted at before, there might be some systems that aren't quite working as they should. And in a little Q&A from a current closed beta tester, Sajidine, sorry for butchering your name, we hear that the latest $10,000 tournament that was run using a third-party system was actually not the norm. There was an in-client tournament system, but Valve were busy fixing it. So is this one of the reasons we'll have to wait? If so, I am perfectly okay with that. Valve might be wanting us all to test their internal tournament system, and that's got me pretty psyched, to be honest. If there's one thing I love more than Artifact, it's going to be esports, or the esports of Artifact. Huge esports fan, always have been, and I can't wait to see what the Valve team do with Artifact after the huge success of the Dota esports scene. So yeah, sure, fix your in-game tournament system. I'll test it for you, day and night. This idea of Valve not necessarily knowing exactly when they're going to release something isn't a real surprise to followers of Valve content for a time now. As we understand, Valve's clocks are all set to a time zone that no one outside of the company yet understands. I am of course referring to Valve time, the time-bending phenomenon where Valve suggests a date for something and it actually happens quite a bit later. This begins all the way back, in October 1997, where the Half-Life demo was due to be released, only for it to appear nearly 1 year later. This has even affected the Dota world, with patch 7.0, which basically reworked the entire game, coming in fall of that year, which ended up being the 12th of December. I'm not really sure when they think fall is, but apparently in Valve time, December counts as fall. While Valve time seems to be the most commonly quoted response when someone asks about the Artifact beta date, I think we haven't given anywhere near enough credit to Valve's team behind the @PlayArtifact Twitter account yet. They've slowly been revealing all of the Artifact cards to us, as well as giving many members of the community, including us, so thank you Valve, the opportunity to reveal a card in their own way. This is unprecedented for Valve, who usually sit back and let the community figure things out prior to release themselves. Perhaps then, there is a relatively locked in date. But when is it? The first date we heard of was during the huge China leak, of which we're all still rather peeved at. The date, October 12th, was thrown around at the time, supposedly coming from the source of the leaks himself. If you're currently pulling some sort of confused face, you're right to do so, because October the 12th was last week, and we still don't have the beta, so I guess that's one date out of the window. Another date from that same leak was the 15th, today. Now I'm recording this earlier, so by the time the video drops it might be out. If so, why the hell are you watching this? Go and play the game. If not, then that's another date from the leak we can discount. This leaves us with late October. Planning it 1 month before the release would be a nice round number to aim for, but October 28th is leaving it pretty late, especially after telling us October. Valve won't make too many friends, forcing us all to wait that long. Outside of that, the most logical guesses are based around the particular days Valve seem to release patches, but they don't have any sort of official patch day unlike other companies, so this is outside of what one might consider concrete evidence. So what have we been waiting for these past 2 weeks of October? We don't have any date? Well, not really, but pay attention to those closed beta tournaments. As soon as you see anything about them being on an internal system again, you can expect the beta to drop soon. Now I know I haven't given you guys a beta date. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone at this point is going to be able to provide you one. But hopefully with these sort of ideas behind it, you can see A, why it's been delayed, and B, you know to look out for the beta testers maybe hinting that things have been fixed, or being hyped about new things being brought in. As soon as that starts happening, you know the beta's coming soon. And I hope you guys thoroughly enjoy it. As always, I've been Divok of the Artificers Guild, and I will see you next time.